City Council President, council members, general public. It's an honor to be with you all tonight, pretending to be your mayor, from a multi-purpose room in the Up-County Regional Services Center, named for the late County Executive Sidney Kramer, for our annual State of the City Address. This is an important part of our civic culture in Germantown, where I get to update you on all the important work that your city government has done over the course of the last year and lay out a vision for the year ahead. I would like to begin tonight by acknowledging the many people who are not with us, those friends and family and community members who we've lost in the last year, many of them to the coronavirus pandemic. They made Germantown a better place, and I know that their lives and their legacies will forever bless all of those that they left behind. With that, I would like to take a moment of silence for them. Thank you. Now, we all know that this year has been one of great hardship. From the ongoing health crisis, to the growing economic inequality and racial injustice, to challenges posed by closed schools and workplaces. Yes, we know this hardship all too well. From the time that COVID-19 was first reported in Montgomery County all the way back in March until today, there have been about 5,000 people in the 2 Germantown zip codes that have contracted the virus, including some very dear friends of mine who are very fortunate to be here with us tonight after having sustained some very serious lung damage. But many others have not been so lucky. We've lost some of our best and our brightest this year. Others still have felt the sting of the pandemic without ever having contracted the virus. I'll never forget the day that businesses shut down in Maryland to prevent the spread. I was one of the many minimum wage food service employees who lost their jobs during that time when it was announced that we all had to go home without a clear return to work date. Many of my coworkers wondered how they would make their next rent payment, or even just get food on the table that night. I've spoken to countless families since then who have lost loved ones, who have found work in more dangerous conditions, or have fallen behind on their rent, or who have come to rely on the generosity of their community just to stay alive. These people have experienced the kind of all-consuming fear that no person should ever have to experience under any circumstances. I'm sure it seems to many of you today that the difficulties before us, in light of all that has happened, have never been greater. But even in our darkest moments, there is a light that shines through. While this year has seen loss greater than any of us could ever have imagined, it has also revealed the best of who we are as a people. Countless members of the Germantown community have stepped up on top of their jobs to volunteer at food pantries, testing and vaccination sites, and polling places, or to march in the streets boldly proclaiming that Black Lives Matter and to fight for a nation that lives up to its foundational promise that all people are created equal, or to serve on local committees and tell their elected officials how they can be doing a better job, or to respond swiftly when our democracy was in crisis just a few short weeks ago during the insurrection at the United States Capitol, or to engage in simple and everyday acts of kindness, such as mowing a neighbor's lawn or picking up groceries for an immunocompromised or elderly friend. I want to thank you all of you volunteers, all of you frontline workers in the healthcare and food service industries, all of you teachers and municipal and county employees, all of you first responders, small business owners, and activists who give so much of yourselves every day so that this community, our community, does not have to go without. That is the Germantown spirit. We owe you a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. I would ordinarily ask you all to stand and be recognized, but that's not really a possibility at this time, so I hope that you know that all of us here at City Hall are applauding you and have your backs 365 days a year. This year has also seen some positive developments, pandemic aside. This was the year that the new Seneca Valley High School was finally completed, that the cider barrel was prepared to reopen for the first time in nearly a decade, and that new sidewalks and protected bike lanes were added citywide. I'd like to thank all of the activists and, of course, the construction workers who made these new developments possible. We also, this past year, completed the census at a higher rate than we did in 2010. So I'd like to thank all of you who set aside a few short minutes of your time to fill out the census and make sure that Germantown counted. That's, again, the Germantown spirit. You know, it seems to me likely that when the census data comes out, it's going to confirm what we who live here all already know, that Germantown is a community of 100,000 people who are some of the most diverse in the entire United States, and hardworking and committed to building a strong community together. So I'd like to thank all of you who have come here from all over the world and chosen to make Germantown your home. We're a better community because you're here. These are just a few highlights in what has otherwise been an incredibly tough year for us all. We know that the year ahead is full of challenges too, from vaccine distribution to reopening schools and workplaces safely, swiftly, and equitably, to reviving our flagging economy. But if we meet those challenges with the same grit and compassion, the same Germantown spirit that we met the challenges of the last year, then I am confident that we are going to make it out of these dark times stronger than we have ever been, and closer to that promised nation than our founders could have ever dreamed of. We also have a couple of fun things to look forward to, getting off some of the more serious things. This year, we'll hopefully be able to see the return of the Germantown Flea Market, maybe the Oktoberfest parade next fall, and the cider barrel. We'll also be able to go back and watch movies at the Regal on Century and Crystal Rock, or play around to Top Golf if that's what you're into, or go hiking with friends at Black Hill Regional Park to go visit the COVID-19 Memorial, or enjoy a picnic in Town Center Park, or to pick up a book from the Germantown Library, or catch a show at the Black Rock Center for the Arts. I know, as a former actor, that's something that I especially look forward to, personally. As we here at City Hall press ahead with the work of the people and strive to build an even more representative, equitable, and efficient city government, where even broke food service employees and a child of an immigrant can pretend to be the mayor online for clout. We urge all of you to help us out and to hold us accountable so that we can build the kind of Germantown together that we can all be proud of. I know you will. Now, if you've watched this long, then you probably know me personally, or you at least know that Germantown doesn't actually have a city government to address the many challenges that we face and facilitate the kind of programs that we've talked about over the course of this State of the City address. But just because the city government isn't real doesn't mean our problems aren't. We're actually represented and administered by the county and the state, So I urge all of you to call on your county council members and county executive and various state and federal officials to advocate for our community's needs, Germantown needs, and for a just and equitable recovery. To call out all of those in power and debate them when they don't meet our needs, or when you have good faith disagreements about policy, or just to ask them for help when you need it. That's their job. That's what they're paid to do. That's what they chose to do. It's why they ran for office in the first place. It's what they want to do. And so I urge all of you to reach out to them in that capacity as constituents, so that we can build the kind of Germantown together that we all need and aspire to. And you know, if they don't, maybe a city government will one day. In conclusion, the state of Germantown is promising because of each and every one of you. Thank you. God bless the great city of Germantown, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And don't forget to wear a mask, please. And wash your hands and continue to socially distance. It's very important that we're all sticking to the very rules that will make sure that we get out of this pandemic safely. Thank you so much, and good night.